What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tom here with Tom Ria Sports, and we're back with our Week 15 NFL recap. We're just going to go over all the picks we had for this week, and we're not going to do any predictions just yet. Tomorrow we'll have full Week 16 game picks, so definitely check that out. For now, we're just going to go over Week 15, and starting us off was the Chargers heading into Vegas, taking on the Raiders. This was a must-win for the Raiders. They were 3.5-point favorites at home. Derek Carr got hurt early, but Mariota came in and played well. Raiders' defense is just, at this point, nothing short of atrocious. Chargers do have some promise, especially offensively, but they get a road victory. They beat the spread. 0-1 start. We had the Raiders. Kicking off, we had two Saturday games as well. Bills went into Denver to take on the Broncos, a chance for them to clinch the AFC East. They were 5.5-point favorites. That was an easy pick in my eyes. I felt they would come out strong, and they did just that. Really dominated the game. Broncos, it's going to be interesting to see where they go this offseason, especially offensively at the quarterback side. If they give Vic Fangio another year, what's going to happen with John Elway as the GM? They got a lot of questions to answer. But Bills, on the other hand, they've answered a lot of those questions over the last few years. They have a great core in place, and they're going to look to compete for Super Bowls for years to come. Panthers, Packers. Packers started off hot. We're up 21-3 at half. Really packed it in the second half, kind of just ran the ball and did what they had to do to win. Defense played better. Panthers fall to 4-10, but they have some promise. They still need to figure out some of their future as well, but I like Matt Rule. They got to get a GM in there, but we'll see what they do at the quarterback position as well, as far as if they draft somebody, whatever the case may be. But Packers win. They improved 11-3. Also have a good shot of getting number one seed in the NFC. And then kicking off our Sunday games, Buccaneers and Falcons. Bucks were 6-point favorites on the road. A really big game for them and their playoff push. And it was funny because they were down 17-0 at halftime, and it looked bleak, but any fan, especially a Tom Brady fan or a fan of the Falcons, knew that this game was far from over, and that's exactly what happened. Buccaneers were on fire in the second half. Defense played much better. They ultimately did not cover, but they did win the game. So at this point, we are 2-2. So on to the Niners and the Cowboys. Cowboys were 3-point underdogs at home. I felt that was a little odd to me. Like, I know a lot of teams are high on the Niners, especially their defense, what they've done with the injuries. But again, that's the biggest thing for me is all the injuries they've had. Cowboys have played well of late. I felt they were going to win this game, and they did just that, get a nice 8-point victory, and it was actually worse than that. They had a last-second touchdown. The Niners did. I just am not a believer in Nick Mullins at all. I don't know what the Niners are going to do going forward with Garoppolo and his contract, but that team is really talented. They're just banged up. They'll be back next year for sure. Cowboys, on the other hand, they're winning games, but they're losing draft stock. Not the worst thing in the world, but we'll see what happens with them going forward. Lions, Titans. This game was pretty easy to call. Stafford did end up playing, but Titans are just a team. In the AFC, the playoff race is insane. There's a team that might finish 11-5 and not make it, which is crazy, especially with the extra playoff spot. But Titans get a big home victory. They were 10-point favorites. We picked them. They ultimately win and cover. Tannehill monster game. Derrick Henry monster game. Big win for Tennessee. Texans, Colts. Colts were 7.5-point favorites at home. I picked the Colts. That's a bad beat right there. That one's tough. We got a couple pushes this week and then a couple like this where you lose by half a point. Those really hurt. Colts weren't too impressive, but they did enough just to win. Texans, they're a mess. We'll see what they do going forward. Dolphins and the Patriots. Last chance for the Patriots. They lost this game. They were out, and they just can't score. Their offense is just, it's bad. It's really bad. Defense played okay. Close first half. Dolphins picked it up in the second half. Once again, ran all over the Patriots, which has been their theme all season, getting run all over. Ahmed had a big game, 122 yards, touchdown. But Dolphins win. They're 9-5, and they're in the thick of things as well in the playoff race. Bears, Vikings. This game kind of was a little shocking to me. I thought Vikings were going to win this game. I figured it'd be pretty close. But Bears were pretty dominant, especially early on. Had a 20-10 lead at half. Second half, Vikings stormed back a little bit, but Montgomery has been the hottest running back in the league the last 4 or 5 weeks. Bears had a must-win game for them, get the victory. Now they play the Jaguars in what looks like an easy win, but you never know in this league. But big win for the Bears. They're 7-7. Vikings at 6-8 are pretty much out of the playoffs at this point. Seahawks, Washington. Seahawks were 6.5-point favorites on the road. I did pick them to cover that, especially without Alex Smith playing. But Washington played well in the second half, made it a close game in the fourth quarter. Seahawks ultimately get the victory, but do not cover the spread. And then obviously there was some off-the-field stuff at Washington. We're not going to get into it, but Seahawks are 10-4, and they're competing for a division title now. Jaguars, Ravens. Ravens are on fire. This was an easy game to call. Jaguars playing for Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, and they get a huge blessing, and the next game we'll talk about. But Ravens, dominant victory. Not much more to say. They're 9-5, fighting for a playoff spot, and they cover the spread. Rams, Jets. Here we are. Rams were 17-point favorites. I highlighted that in the picks last week, how I was a little nervous about that, but being it was the Jets, I was like, screw it, I'll take it. And unbelievably, not only did the Jets beat the spread, but they beat the Rams, win the game. Now they don't have first pick in the draft. It's madness at this point in New York. They almost can't even lose properly. But maybe they'll get lucky and still end up with the first pick. I don't think it's the worst thing at second pick if that's where they end up. They could trade it for a haul. They could get Justin Fields. They could maybe get a tackle there. We'll see what happens. But Rams, it's a really, really embarrassing loss, especially trying to compete for a division. Now they got to win out. They should still be fine as far as the playoff race goes, but might cost them a home game, might cost them an easier matchup. We'll see what happens there. Eagles, Cardinals, what a great game. Maybe the game of the week. Cardinals were 6.5-point favorites, and I took the Eagles. And it was looking good, but Cardinals did just enough. They win by exactly a touchdown. So another tough one there. But big win for the Arizona, especially in their playoff hopes. They're 8-6 now. Kyler Murray played tremendous. Jalen Hurts was unbelievable. I'm really happy to see him thriving because I definitely had my doubts with him, but he's proven me wrong. Eagles might have a quarterback of the future, but they're already paying a guy nearly $40 million a year, so they got to figure that out. Chiefs, Saints. This game was okay. It was kind of boring to watch. I don't know if you guys felt the same. It wasn't bad. Saints made a late push. Chiefs again win in a close margin. That's been their bread and butter the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. Chiefs were 3-point favorites, so they do cover it in a push, albeit, but we take that as a win over here. 13-1, best team in football right now, but they did get some things to shore up. We also got to see what happened with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he's going to be healthy down the stretch or if he's going to miss the rest of the season, miss some time, whatever the case may be. But Saints are 10-4. Now the Bucs could potentially win a division if they win out and Saints lose out, but I doubt that happens. We'll see, though. We'll see. Chiefs pretty much got the first seed locked up, though. Browns, Giants. This game went exactly how I expected. I had the under in this game. I had the Browns covering the 6.5-point spread, especially once I saw Colt McCoy starting. And not that Daniel Jones is significantly better, but when he's healthy, he can just do more with his feet, make some things happen. And it stinks watching the Giants, man, because this was another game that was, if they had some sort of offense, this is a winnable game for them. Their defense did not play bad. They really contained the run game well. They were missing Bradbury. They were missing some guys defensively, and they gave up some passing yards. Baker was on point, no doubt about it. He was carving up the zone defense, but this is a game that the Giants, if you look at it, if they had one of these top-tier, top 15 quarterbacks, even top 15 offense in general, these are games that they could really be winning, but they're not there yet. Their future still is bright. I'm still confident in them. They're probably not going to end up getting that final division spot this year, but it's been a promising season for them. And for the Browns, I love to see it. I'm really rooting for them to get in. It would stink if they go 11-5 and miss the playoffs, because that is entirely possible in a tough AFC. But big road victory for the Browns, 10-4 now, and they cover. And then the final game, second biggest upset, of the week, other than the Jets one. One of the bigger upsets of the year, though. Steelers started off 11-0. We're 11-2. Everyone felt this would be their bounce-back game. And that first half was some of the worst football I've ever seen. I mean, the Steelers were absolutely awful, especially offensively. Bengals jumped out on the first half, up 17-0. Steelers came right out, scored. Then they scored again. It looked like, oh boy, here comes the Steelers. But Bengals did enough. They hold them off. Steelers were 13-point favorites. They obviously didn't cover that. Bengals get a victory. So Steelers could potentially also be playing for the division week 17 against Cleveland. We'll see what happens. Looking too far ahead at this point. But overall on the week, we finished at 8-8. Not bad, especially for a couple huge upsets that no one could have predicted. If those went our way, it would have been a really nice 10-6 week, but it is what it is. We're on to the next one. And guys, I just want to thank you for watching. I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is do another video with the spread picks, and we'll just do the entire week. We'll do the Friday games, the Saturday games, Sunday and Monday, a little bit earlier than normal, but obviously these are different circumstances, holiday season, so I definitely want to get those out there. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe, throw a like, comment your picks, and I'll see you soon.